Thank you very much. So, hello everyone. So we've spent, obviously, the last day and a half, close to 2 days. I know for many of you it feels like much longer, but we've heard about the demographic changes, we've heard about technology changes, we've heard about, obviously, the rising middle class and how that changes, what we are seeing within the possibility for insurance. And I think that nothing epitomizes both the opportunities, the risks and the challenges for insurers than critical illness cover and how it affects the multiple markets that we have and that we see within Asia. So we're going to take about the next 35 minutes because we know how critically important it is to be on time in this conference. We've seen it so often that nobody ever overruns. So what we will do is that Otto is going to go very deep into the critical illness product and how it affects, how it's evolved, and he's going to take us through a presentation. And then at the end, I'll take a little bit of time to talk about what that means from a data systems and how that affects the sort of channels and route to market, etc. So over to you, Otto.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John, for the quick introduction of myself, and also thank you for giving me the opportunity to be speaking here on the stage in this event. This is the first time I'm in Mumbai, first time in India. So So very exciting experiences to speaking in front of all of you for the first time. Okay, so today I actually prepare a bit of slides to share the evolution journeys of critical illness products in Asia. So I noticed for this event, we talk about disruptions, and to be honest, disruptions, in other words, is change. So what has been changing in this critical illness products in the last 20 years, that's what I'm going to talk about today. So the first, I will try to divide my discussion today into 3 sessions. The first one is how the outside, say for example, the customers and also the distributors think about critical insurance in Asia. And next would be talking about the evolution journey and what changes has happened in the last 2 decades. And also what are the current market landscape in Asia. And finally, will be some thoughts about what are the potential opportunities that would work in India. Okay, so let's just kickstart. So what the market says. So just to talk a little bit about my company, so RGA. So RGA, we in 2023 and 24, we conducted a customer survey. So a customer survey and also a distributor survey. So we try to see in Asia, what are the current thoughts from these end customers and all those distributors on these CI products. So some numbers here, we are actuaries here, so that's why I quote some numbers here. So you see actually 28% of the new business premium is coming from critical illness products. It's actually very significant because from more insurance perspective, critical illness products is a protection product. Protection premium is usually smaller. So how come it become 28% so high? So in Asia, it's very common to see that these CI products are being packaged together into some saving elements. So by doing that, actually from an end customer point of view, if they get sick, they get a payment. If they do not get sick and they stay healthy, and they get a surrender value or a maturity value. So by doing this protection and saving combo actually boosts the sales of these CI products. And secondly, there's a lot of innovations happening. So it's across Asia, 80% of the innovation is on CI products. Not on mortality, not on health, but 80% on CI. So why would that happen is in the general population, the increasing awareness of having a critical illness over your lifetime is increasing over time. And also all these changes in this medical treatment protocol, the medical advancements is on the news every day. And then we keep hearing about this and sort of people are getting more aware of this over time. So that increase the demand for CI products in Asia. But what do they say about the bad things about CI products then? Like next is like, the bad thing about the CI products is, first of all, expensive. Affordability is the first issue. The second problem is like the design is like very complex in some of the regions, like we sell very complex CI products. The third issue is about like the underwriting process. Like, of course, like, we do know that like critical illness is protecting your health, like, and going through the underwriting questions, like the underwriting questions could involve like your medical history, your family history, your like whether you have like will be undergoing any like CI tests or diagnostic like tests like going forward, that will be included in the underwriting question. So like these like if the salesperson like needs to fill up all these like together with the end customers on these underwriting forms, there's like no 100% certainty that the application would go through the underwriting process. So that is the key hurdle that we heard from a distributor and end customer perspective. And also, like I also want to highlight the last point. Like the customer seems to think that like there's like too many innovations like in these like CI products. Every innovation comes with a price because like insurance company like tends to add features over time to make the product more attractive. But end of the price is getting more pricey over time. So like the demand from the market seems to be like there should be a better balance between like innovations versus price. So this is what the market says. Next, what I want to show is like some of the incidence rates that we observe in across like Asia and also in India as well, and also some developed country as well. So just to explain this graph, like this is a cancer incidence rates. And we use a standardized, age standardized rate. So like the population, the aging effect is like the age distribution is being standardized in these graphs. So you see here, like on the top, like you see like Japan and United States and Korea, the incidence rates for cancer is highest like for male. And you do see that like China is like actually picking up. The middle line is China, the blue line is actually China. It's like picking up fairly quickly. And you see that Thailand is the second bottom one. India is the lowest one. So like looking at this graph, right, the age is standardized, so it is not really matters about the age distribution in a certain population. But why is it happening? So the answer is like basically like because of the awareness or the screening that is happening in the country that induce like that increase in the increasing like incidence rates for China, for example. But like for very heavily screened populations, say for example United States, Korea, and also Japan, the incidence rates are very stable and maintained at the top. So like what I'm trying to say from this graph is like India, even though it's having the lowest like age standardized cancer incidence rates for now, but like if technology is coming in, medical technology is coming in, screening is coming in more in India, eventually like that curve would go up. So that is like what I would foresee, like that incidence rates will be going up in India for cancer incidence. So next is about like what changes has happened in the last 20 years like in Asia. So like going back to the time 2008, like before 2008, when I was like first entering the life insurance industry as an actuary, where I first joined in early 2000. At that time, like the CI products in Asia only cover like maybe talking about 20, 30 critical illness conditions, and that's it. But then we do see like there's changes and disruption happening in the last 20 years. Like starting from early 2012 or 2013, we see the first like multiple CI products in the market. Like, and also we see the first like simplified underwriting CI product in the market. So what is a multi-pay? Like multi-pay means like once somebody get a critical condition, they get recovered, and they have another chance of getting critical illness in the future. So like on the second time they get a critical illness, they get another insurance payment. If we can design a product with such a comprehensive like coverage, that will be beneficial to the policyholders. So in 2013, we see the first multi-pay cancer. And then later on, multi-pay CI, sorry. And then in 2016, and then we see like more variation about it. So like say for example, if somebody, the cancers become like persistent in the body, then what will happen? Like, do we still, can we have a design to pay for this like type of like continuous cancer? The answer is yes. Like starting in 2016, there is like first type of like CI product covering a persistent cancer in the body. And then later on, like we see like different other variations. Say, for example, in 2019, there is a severity-based CI product, which like the pay condition is no longer based on the claim definition or cancer definition or CI definition. That will be based on a scoring system. So like if somebody get very sick and if they satisfy certain score, they get an insurance payout. And then later on in 2022, like there are like many more and more variations of like CI products happening to fit into the treatment journey as well. So like it may not be a lump sum payment, it may become a, like as long as you get a cancer treatment ongoing, you get a certain payoff over time, maybe a monthly payment. So to fit the insurance market. This is about the insurance like product journey, but like at the same time, there is like also a development journey on the medical side as well. So like, I just picked cancer as one of the examples to see how the evolution has changed. So in around 2000, right? Like at that time, cancer therapy at that time, maybe radiotherapy, chemotherapies, these are the most common therapies to treat cancer. But then like in the last 20 years, like things has evolved. There is like technologies and medical advancements, like talking about targeted therapy, which is like less invasive to your human body because they target the cancer cell and then they just attack the target and then attack the cancer cell and then kill the cancer cell in the body. So targeted therapy is one of the innovation. Immunotherapy is another one. So there is to boost the or trigger the immune system to find these cancer cells and attack them. So like these are the new developments in terms of the cancer therapy. At the same time, there is also multi-cancer early detection tools emerging in the market as well. We call it MCED2. So this is a tool that is very simple. It's just use a very small blood sample. We can actually identify whether you have that cancer in your body. By doing of course I'm not a doctor, so I'm not trying to explain in detail how it works. But from the high level, I know that if you have a cancer cell in your body, the cancer cell would, of course, will grow and will die as well in your body. So when the cancer cell die, actually there will be some fragments in your blood that we can extract from your blood, and then we will detect these fragments and from the blood, and then can detect whether you have the cancer cell in the body. So there are many companies, medical firms, that is going through all these tests. In the last 10 years, these type of technologies has been evolving or developing really quickly and with a higher accuracy rate to detect cancer as well. So I do have some diagrams talking about this, how it works from a medical perspective, but given the time, I will skip these slides for now. But then my point is on one hand, the products keep evolving, but at the same time, the medical science is also evolving as well. So as a pricing actuary or product actuary, we need to be keep aware of what's developing in the market from a medical science perspective, and then to design the product to fit the end customers. So what's next then? What I would see what's next in general in the Asian market is first of all, there is a demand for simple underwriting and more tailored underwriting and more tailored personalized insurance coverage to the end customers. That's one direction. The other direction is looking at the last 10 years, adding more and more features into a CI product seems to be the norm. I would feel this is still continue to happen in Asia. The reason being if you talk to the distributors, they always want the product actuaries to find, or the product team to find new features to be the speaking points to sell to the market. So this talking points we will need to keep adding new small features to make the product more comprehensive. So this is the second direction that could happen. The third direction that could happen is like there would be more demand to add in like value-added services to these like CI products to gradually improve the health of the end customers. Like these value-added services could be like talking about like some of these like early detection tools, like to detect like illnesses or diabetes, or like could be like some other like say for example all these like electronic electronic should be called like the remote, like the doctor visits, like packaging these like value-added services into the product itself. That could be another trend as well. So next is I just want to showcase some of the example how complicated the product could work in Asia. I picked the example in Hong Kong. So this product is like complicated in the sense of like it covers many conditions. You see the 115 diseases or medical conditions is being covered. Out of the 115, like to be fairly honest, right? Like we cannot identify that we cannot really find 115 kinds of critical illness that can be killing your life in our human body. It's very difficult to find 115, that number. But how to make up the 115 number is like, out of the 115, 50 something is actually really the critical illness conditions. But like out of the 115, there's another 40 something is talking about like early stage CI. So we still get a payoff early for this. Like if somebody get this early stage CI, they will still get this some part of the insurance payment. And also like some of the 13s, the small number, the small digit there is talking about some child conditions that we will pay for the child conditions that if they get into this like CI, they will get a payout. So like to make up the 115 is combination of like the child critical illness condition or early stage CI or like late stage CI. And next, like you see the sum assured, like usually the sum assured very easy to explain, 100%. But you see here, we are paying 900%. So how do we break down the 900% here in this product is, we theoretically think that somebody can get 6 times of cancer. They guess like every time they get 100, they get 6 times in a lifetime. So that's come up with 600. They can get 2 times of heart attack and stroke. So if somebody is unlucky enough, they survive after 6 cancers, and then another heart attack and stroke for 2 times, they get 800. And then afterwards, you get, if you are lucky enough to survive after these 8 incidents of CI, you get another 100 if you end up getting Alzheimer's or some neuro disease. So as this person, of course, theoretically, you can get up to 9 times. This is a more marketing gimmick thing. But like end up realistically, of course, you won't be able to get it. Like nobody can survive. In today's technology, nobody can survive after 9 critical illnesses. But like from a marketing standpoint, 900 is a good number to talk about, right? So yeah, so that's why the product gets so complex. And the next is even make it more complex is, for this product design, if somebody get a cancer, okay, at that point of time, the insurance company offer you a option in here. You want to continue with the 600 benefit, oh, you get one-time cancer already, so remaining you have 5 times more. You want to get this 500 now, or you want to preserve your right to get the 500 in the future, or you want to actually think, oh, I have a low chance of survival. Maybe I can convert this, become a cancer annuity. So as long as I survive, and I may not have a high chance of like surviving like after this cancer, you have the right to change this like benefit to a monthly payout, as long as you have the cancer in your body, diagnosed with the cancer in the body. The problem with this design is, of course, it's very complex. First of all, the end customers may not be able to understand how many occasions that they can get, and at the time when they are very sick, actually they may forget about this policy already. At that time, if you ask them to choose which benefits that you would choose, it's very difficult for that critically ill person to make a choice at that point of time. So this product complex, may not be very user-friendly, but it would appear to be very comprehensive if somebody really understands this product, how it works. So this is the first example of a very complex design. Next one is a very simple design. So like, it's like, this is one of the examples of CI product selling in Korea. So how it works is like, they try to like fragment the typical very complex insurance products into a small benefits. Say for example, this product, it only covers CI, or maybe it only covers 3 CIs, or maybe it just covers cancer. And by doing this product to be like so small, the coverage to be so limited to CI and cancer, the underwriting question can be very tailor-made to fit this design as well. If you imagine, if the product is only covering cancer, then from an underwriting perspective, we probably would only ask questions about cancer. And for the other sickness, like we may not really need to ask these questions. So like this design is like, product is simple, underwriting question is also simple. It's talking about only 3 questions, only ask about like whether you are being diagnosed with cancer in the last 3 or 5 years, whether you have been hospitalized in the last period of time, or maybe like you are being asked by a doctor to consult any medical diagnosis in the last few months. Very simple design. So like this is another direction that Asia would go forward, and this is another example that I think this simple design is good to be shared to this group here. Third one is going back, is also a very complex design. It's talking about the scoring system. So like as in my previous slides in 2019, this is the first severity-based critical illness product that appeared in Asia. That is like moving away from the very standard critical illness that the payout would depend on a very defined definition. And now it's not based on a defined definition, but then like for somebody that is like very sick, like they would get a score. So like the score will be based on 4 dimensions. First one, whether you have undergone any surgery. Second, what sort of treatment that you have taken. Thirdly is about like whether like you have been hospitalized in the ICU for a long period of time. If you stay longer in the ICU for a longer period of time, you get a higher score. Fourthly is about like whether you can perform any of the like daily activities. Out of the 6 daily activities, whether you can perform 3 out of it or 2 out of it. If you can perform less of these daily activities, then you get a higher score. So the score itself would, like the scoring system is something like this, is in very small fonts, but like not taking into detail, but like as long as you are like getting more ill, you get like more assistance required from others to look after you, then you get a higher score, and then you get an insurance payout. The good thing about this design is like sometimes some people that is like critically ill, they may not be able to fulfill the cancer or CI definitions, but then like if using this score system, for those people that is like already very sick, they can still get an insurance payout. From a distributor perspective, that could be one advantage is like this is like more user-friendly, more customer-friendly, because like it's easier to explain to the customer that if you are sick, very sick, then you can get an insurance payout. It does not really need to fulfill the definitions. But the bad thing is like the transparency, or to explain to the end customers about how this scoring work, it takes a really long time. So like that makes the sales process longer, and it will appear to be more complex to the end customers. So I quickly share all these like examples that is happening in Asia on the CI products. Then what's next for India? So this is more personal, is my view on like what could be the direction to move towards in the future for CI products. So I would think like there could be like 2 possible directions. Like one is more simplified, more tailor-made. Like from an underwriting perspective, I would think like in here, like the underwriting questions can be designed by the insurance company. That could be one direction that the distributors would say, oh, we want more simplified underwriting approach. One of the approaches like to make the product simpler, and then to have very tailor-made underwriting questions to fit into the product design. That could be one possible direction. The other possible direction is like to make the product more comprehensive. Like more comprehensive, it doesn't really need to go to the very complex product design, but it could be talking about like expanding the CI condition from the current 20, 30 to adding to say 40, 50 towards that direction. Or maybe like offering some early stage like critical illness like payout as well. That could be one of the directions to go for a more comprehensive design. So this is the two ways that is possible in the future. But no matter which direction it goes, like there is like, the technology is really coming in. Say for example, all these like tele-doctor visits, like using like mobile doctor visits, and also like talking about like early detection tools, all these technology things would definitely come into the market. And like the partnering between an insurance company and also these like value-added service providers, that would happen in this market no matter what. So like no matter like which direction the product evolution would go in India, I would think like technology would come in to play an important part anyway. Yeah. So this is the part that I would like to share for today. And next, like, I would like to invite like, John, because like, he would have like some expertise, like views from a more technology perspective and from a data perspective, given his current capacity. So I hand over to John.
Yeah. Thanks, Otto. Yeah, so only got a few minutes left, so I think there's two aspects to probably cover that maybe Otto hasn't gone into detail around. You know, one is the channels, right? You've got these three sort of distinct product types or product families that Otto's described, and each of them has different ways and different channels in order to go to them. I think the first two, in terms of obviously the more complex existing critical illness cover, then that's something that's usually actively sold to clients, and that as well you need perhaps medical intervention to underwrite. You need a good deal of data and a good deal of expertise to be able to do that and to design those products. The second one, in terms of the much simplified approach, I mean, you see that everywhere and being pushed in every channel now. So, you know, every time you get in an Uber car or a Grab car, or you know, you're at an airport and you're waiting then you see, you know, somebody trying to push cancer critical illness to you, and do you want to accept it or not? And there's just a few dollars for the premium, and it will cover you for very limited specific types of insurance, and that's the sort of the shotgun method of, and the sheer volume makes the numbers work from an underwriting perspective. And the third one, you know, I think it's a unique way of, it's really parametric insurance, right? You know, certain things happen, that creates a trigger, but you know, Otto's right, the selling of that is the real challenge. So what is the channel that is associated with that would best work? So again, it's a partner challenge. It's a partner and an agent that would sell that. But as we all know, you know, agents often aren't the smartest guys in the room, right? They're not actuaries. They're not like you guys. So how do you build the sales script in order for them to be able to sell that successfully, and also to be able to sell that in a way that really engages with the clients and the subset. But so that I think is one of, but I think the more interesting aspect that maybe Otto didn't get into is, right, how do you price this stuff? How do you price those three types of well, and you know, the simplest answer obviously is you need data and you need the models. So it's a sort of price and reserve. And the more complex piece and the more challenging piece is obviously the data, especially when we're talking about medical data, because you've only got the data that is supplied to you. You've got the publicly available data, and obviously you've got some trend data. And you know, the test that Otto was outlining for cancer is really you know, the simplest, it's the most uninvasive, and it's the most accurate of tests, right? However, you know, if you're under an EU-regulated environment, then it counts as a genetic test, and you can't use it for pricing discrimination or pricing distinction. Therefore, you know, the best test to be able to enable you to price actually is excluded to you. And if you are a subsidiary here or in the rest of Asia, say you're Allianz, and you're trying to, are you subject, because your parent company sits in Germany, are you subject to then that ruling when you're trying to do that distinction in Asia and especially in India? So how do you overcome these sort of challenges, and where are the different forms of data? So the diagram that Otto put up around cancer, where you saw in the bottom there how India had this low incidence of detection. Now we all know if you'd have put that diagram up for type 2 diabetes and also for coronary heart disease, that would have been a very different picture, right? India would have been up at the top. So, and there are also interactions between those types of diagnosis and cancer. These things are interrelated, right? So you've got a higher chance of getting cancer if you've got these other conditions, because underlying it reflects your underlying way of life. That's the time up sign. So we have failed in our objective to actually be the only session today to actually finish on time. However, I will take another few minutes just to finish. So actually there are data sets out there that you can and could exploit. There are models that you can use. There are ways in which you can access that data and use it based on those trends. So the challenge is getting the big enough data set to be able to price this accurately. So obviously the larger insurance companies and reinsurance companies that have the biggest amount of data that addresses this critical illness cover and more life cover in general, because then you've got really the underlying data around that. If you can anonymize that data and actually use it in terms of your price calculation, that gives you a competitive advantage within your country, within your region, and applying really more creative techniques around looking into the correlations between the data then enables you to price more accurately. And obviously there's a whole set of science and data and algorithms that we can talk about and go into. And obviously Otto and I are around, so please feel free to ask us. But I'd like to close now by thanking Otto for an amazing presentation, and really, going into a level of depth which I think has informed us all, but also keeping it simple enough for us to be able to grasp it. Because, I mean, Otto's dealing with this every day, and the level of complexity that he can go into, I've just, in my discussions with him, I've got a grasp of it, and, I was lost in about 5 minutes. So, but then again, I'm not the smartest guy in the room either. But so thank you, Otto. Brilliant presentation. And now, I think, thanks to all the other sessions, we've probably eaten away into the break, but I will hand it over to our MC to find out what happens next. Thank you.